What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the weekly Dr. Fit live stream. My name is Dr. Mohammed Hamouda. I hop on every week with Coach Sif here, where we help you guys get in shape and practice what you preach. And
What's up, docs?
today we have a special guest with us today, Dr. J. Allard. I'm so happy for you to join us today, Dr. J.
Hey, thanks for the invitation.
For sure, for sure. Dr. J, he is a gyn-oncologist. Not only that, he is a father. He is a husband. He likes doing outdoors activity. He also knows how to horseback ride. That's something that's awesome.
Barely.
Just found that out tonight, actually.
Yeah.
For sure. So today, Dr. J. Allard, he lost 26.2 pounds in 16 weeks. And this is
0.7. 26.7, correct.
Yeah, don't shy me that half a pound.
Exactly.
Absolutely. 26.7 pounds in 16 weeks. And this is only the start of his journey. He hopes to go on in the next 3 months and lose an additional 25 to 30 pounds. So Jay, we're so happy for you to join us here today. If you could just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. So I guess I'm a GYN oncologist. I'm here in Florida, the northern part of Florida. Prior to being here, I've been here for about 3 years now. I was in the Navy for 20 years. Before that, I had also done some locums work back and forth while in the Navy and then in between jobs between the Navy and here. So I've been around the block a little bit.
Got it. Got it. And so, Jay, like, what was life before joining the program? Like, where were you at? What did you
So,
struggle with?
oh gosh, yeah, what didn't I struggle with? I think, before joining the program, I found that I really had very little energy. And I was sore like all the time. I'd get up in the morning, I was sore. In fact, I'd be sore at night and I'd wake up being sore. Um, and I just felt really sluggish and lethargic and, no energy, tired all the time, tired at work, tired at home. And it seemed like there was nothing that I could do to correct it, or I didn't really know what to do to correct it. So I had been thinking for over a year now of getting a coach, an online coach, and trying to do something like that. And after trying so many different things before that, I just realized that it was time to take things seriously, sit down, spend a little time and effort, and just figure out the right way to do things to hopefully make it a lasting kind of a success. Because I was tired of feeling like this, totally frustrated. So
Got it. Thank you for sharing that, man. And so you said that it was about a year going on where you were looking for a coach. Was it a year you were kind of in this kind of limbo stage of trying to want to do something, but didn't know what to do? Is that right?
yeah, it was like that, and just kind of wondering, well, would it work? Would this be just another failure? Is this going to be the thing that makes the difference? Because I had gained and lost a lot of weight back and forth since high school.
Mm.
And once you start doing that, you get there's so many, fad diets, and there's so many different ways to lose, and there's so many, like, you got to work out more, you got to work out less, you got to do more cardio, you got to do more weights, you got to do less of it. It's all of it is, it becomes like this noise. And I needed to sort of reset that and kind of cut through all that and just hear from somebody that's a professional that says, this is what you need to do, this is how you do it. If you follow the plan and you're consistent and you're truthful, it'll work. And so far it's worked great. I've been really, really happy.
And it's like,
Awesome, man.
Jay, like that's awesome to hear. I mean, I can totally relate with that through my own health journey. And if there are any docs right now watching live or the replay, let us know if you can relate with what Dr. J. Allard said here, right? Just being in this rut, we come from a position where, we pride ourselves as medical professionals, evidence-based, practices, right? But then for some reason, when it comes to nutrition and fitness and how to approach that, it just seems like so disjointed, right? And you're taking a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and that can leave you frustrated. So, docs, if you can relate with that in the comments, just give us a big fat frustrated. And guys, also, hey, give it up for Jay here a little bit. Come on, give us some muscle emojis in the comments. Give us some whatever, anything, man. This man, he just went from 26.2, he was 26.2 pounds heavier. Just
0.7, 0.7.
0.7.
Stop robbing him of his half a pound.
You're robbing me. I'll get you.
I mean, come on, exactly.
Those precious half pounds, you know. So guys, give him some props here. Jay, how does it feel, man? I could see on your face, like, man, your facial structure, like you look younger. You're like,
yeah.
He said, it looks like you're back in pre-med.
Yeah, well, believe me, it doesn't look like that. But I feel like I have more energy and I feel younger. Like I think before I started, I felt 10 years older than my true age. And you know, I still have a way to go. There's still weight I want to lose. I want to get stronger. I want to get healthier. I want to, you know, feel great. You know, it's just before that, it just wasn't like that. And now I can see that it's working. Especially I see it in my face. My coworkers, my family, you know, they see it too. I've dropped like 2 belt sizes since starting on the plan. I did some measurements last night and I'm like, wow, I really, things are getting smaller in places, and then some places they're getting a little bit bigger like they should. So it's just kind of you know, I've just been really happy with how it's gone. So
nice, awesome, man. And you said you kind of really focused on energy. And why was energy important to you? I think we've kind of missed, you have a young one, right?
Yeah, I do. I have a 3-year-old. I also have some older kids, but I have a 3-year-old. And you know, chasing after a 3-year-old, it's the next level stuff. Like they should make a Spartan race out of that. That's
right.
And that's like the long haul marathon right there. So, you know, that was a big part of it. And that's why getting back my energy was important. The other thing too is like I stand in the OR for hours a day, hours into the night sometimes. And that's really taxing. Surprisingly, you're like, oh, you wouldn't be tired. You're just standing there. It's exhausting just to stand and do some of what I do. And I'm sure other folks relate to that, running around in the ER or their clinics or whatever it is. Like it's all the same. And to be stronger and to have more energy to do that was super important. Like Muhammad said earlier, I like to do stuff outside. I was been really involved with the Scouts. A couple of years ago, I hiked out in New Mexico, 75 miles over 10 days with 50-pound packs. And, you know, I want to continue to do that stuff. I want to hike the Appalachian Trail someday and make it like a through hike. So there's stuff that I want to do, and I'm only going to be able to do that if I'm stronger and if I'm lighter.
Nice. Got it, man. And you had, Dr. J, you had talked about, you had yo-yoed and kind of done these fad diets. Like, what was that like? And what was your fear? You know, where you said that you were fearful of that same process happening again. What was that like before? What were you doing?
So I had done things like Atkins way back when Atkins was like the thing.
Right.
I had, you know, in college, I was really active. I used to row on the crew team. And when you're that active and you're younger, you can eat whatever you want, and it seems not to matter. But after that point, you get into med school. You're like sitting more often, you're studying more, you can't be as active, and that continues on through residency and then fellowship, and then you become a staff member, and it's like unless you break it, it's not going to break itself. So I would try all these things that are fads because you're like, well, it works. You can lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and, you know, just do this and just eat this soup and just drink this whatever. And, you know, just do that. And you don't even have to exercise.
Right?
Yeah. Like so there's all these things. And so part of that, like those things can work for a short time, but it really doesn't change your behavior over the long term. And by not changing your behavior, not changing your mindset, you fall back into the same habits as you did before because you're like, oh, one little cheat's not going to work. And then it's like, two little cheats, and then they just stack up. And then before you know it, you're back where you started or worse. And I've definitely gotten to the point where I was worse than where I started. And I just was done with that. So frustrated by it. So I think being accountable to a coach, to you, Sif, and to you, Mohammed, and to the guys that are on the channel and the other people that have signed up for the same type of program, I think that's super important. Doing these live Facebook feeds real helpful. The calls that we do, personally with you, and then the calls that we do as a group, the whole group chat thing. I think all that's really helpful in trying to encourage people because really, I think we're all probably have the same struggle. We have the same lifestyle, similar jobs. I think you get this similar struggles in that, and to have other people know what you're going through to help support you is super helpful.
So
Yeah.
one thing you mentioned there was like the fact that we're not going to get any less busy, right? You go through pre-med, medical school, then you're like, I'm going to get less busy when I'm in attending, but a whole flurry of other things, not even at work, but at home. And then just time just seems to be just fleeting. So what do you say to those docs who say, hey, no, I'll get started when I have more time?
Yeah, so you won't have more time, let me tell you that. So you have to get in your head that you need to make yourself a priority sometimes. And if you want to do your job well and efficiently, you need energy for that. And to have energy, you need to exercise, you need to move, and you need to eat good nutrition. So there's no time like the present. It's like people are like, well, I'm going to be ready to have a baby then. I'm going to be ready to get married then. That doesn't happen because life continues to change. There's new challenges that constantly come up that will never, never go away. So you just have to say, I'm going to dedicate this amount of time to do this for myself. And, by doing that, it's the beginning of being successful, I think.
All right. And then
Awesome.
like Coach Steve always says, right, is that if you're not going to stop eating, then you have time.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's right.
So it's like it's just about being deliberate about what you're eating, making sure that you have that evidence-based cohesive plan.
Yeah.
And just applying that plan so that way it becomes you. So Jay, do you feel like you've transformed into your identity almost transformed into someone else going through this?
Yeah, I do a lot. It's funny though, because it's my transformation is back to what I remember I used to be, and I'm getting back to that. So it's with the energy and with the feeling better and with feeling lighter and fitting into clothes better and not being so embarrassed, I guess, out in public because you're like, I'm looking better and I feel strong. So that gives you a lot of confidence. So I think that's a major transformation for sure. Which
Do
has
you think it
been
helps in counseling your patients as well? Now that
yeah, and I think this is something that we had covered, I don't know, a couple months ago. I had a patient, endometrial cancer patient. And the endometrial cancer is related to estrogen. The more estrogen, the more likely you will be to get it. And so overweight women, it's more common in those folks. So I found that since starting the plan and losing the weight, I can talk to my patients from a more informed standpoint, understanding, what the weight loss is that they need to go through and some of the changes that they need to make, and talk to them one-on-one about some of my experience, not preach to them, but sort of discuss with them and go over the risk factors. And I've had a couple patients now that have come back to me at the 3-month mark from their original diagnosis, and they've dropped 20 pounds or whatever, and they're continuing to do so, or they've signed up for a bariatric physician to help them get through that process, or some of them are using medications in association with their diet and exercise changes. And it's been really helpful. And they've been very grateful that somebody finally sat down with them and had that discussion, like, your obesity has caused your cancer. We can change that and make it better. So maybe you won't have another cancer, or you won't have heart disease that develops, or hypertension, or a stroke, or whatever it is that's related. And when you can relate with people on like a real personal level like that, I think it makes a huge difference. So I really think that my change has affected some of my patients and their change. So
That's
That's what I
awesome.
love about this group, Jay, right? Is because our reach is not just us, our families, but the broader
yeah.
society. Like if you think about how many patients we're going to see in the duration of our career, right? And how this obesity, being overweight epidemic is, plaguing, the
Hmm.
United States now, right? We're in a position to not only change our lives, but in a position to change everyone else's lives too.
Hmm.
So that's awesome, and that's great to hear that you're actually seeing this on the ground. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's the real point of what we do too. And some of the students we work with, or some of our extenders that we work with, they see me having these discussions, and they're starting to have those discussions. Because the problem with, medical school training, at least when I went through school and where I went to school, which was a very primary care, forward focused medical school, you don't get we got no training in nutrition and exercise, none of that stuff. So as a physician, we really should be helping our patients through that, but we're not really trained to do that. And patients look toward us. Like, anytime you go on a diet, there's always the disclaimer: talk to your physician. Well, your physician doesn't know what's going on,
Mm.
you know, unfortunately. But I think this program has helped with that. And it helps educate patients and the people you're working with and the people that you're training. And hopefully that education will, spread out further to their patients too.
Awesome, awesome. So for those docs who are watching now, drop down your questions in the chat, whether you're watching live or the replay. We'll get to them. But if you have any questions, guys, we're unique individuals. We're special, but we're not that, right? Everyone's busy. Everyone's got a family. Everyone's got their things that are causing them stress, right? So there's no better time to start than now, because when you optimize yourself, like Dr. J says here, everything in life kind of gets better. You start feeling like who you truly are with energy, and you walk differently on the world. So, Jay, for those docs who are on the fence, right?
Yeah,
Have whatever that reason is telling them, not now, don't prioritize now, later.
yeah.
What kind of advice do you have for them?
So I would say, because I was on the fence for a long time, like, should I spend the money? Should I spend the time? You just have to get started. And you know what? Like anything else, get started, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, you can always stop. You could always stop. You're not going to want to once you get started, because you're going to see the results, and then you're going to learn why. Hey, this week I retained more water. Hey, it turns out that these things are really salty and I probably shouldn't be eating all this salt. Figure out different ways to do things. And like, when you learn that, it's just this constant reinforcement. And I think that you will thank yourself in the long run, and your family, and maybe even your patients will thank you for like taking the step for yourself, so you can help them too.
Awesome,
Eh,
awesome, awesome.
I want to jump in real quick, Mohammed. I know you're about to wrap up, but I just want to thank you, man, because you're a catalyst for our program too. Like when we started this group, me and Mohammed envisioned that docs would not only get healthy but practice what they preach, right? Our slogan, right? And be able to spread that what I consider contagious wellness, right? Once you're feeling good, you put it out in the world, people start seeing you, they start living by your example, start usually with your family and friends and coworkers first, but everybody feeds into that, right? And I want to thank you because specifically you're helping us with the journey of our group. Like you said, the group has been super helpful. Well, you're part of that huge help, right? So you've been very vocal in the group. You're encouraging, you're participating in the group. You're coming to our live streams. You don't miss any one of my one-on-one coaching calls, man. You ask questions.
I'll get in so much trouble.
So yeah, man, I want to thank you for that, and I appreciate you for that, because you are literally what we envisioned for the program happening. So you're one of those guys. We're just like, man, you're a gem to have in the group. So I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And I think a lot of the guys in the group have been like that. And like, I know they've been supportive to me with me. So it definitely goes both ways for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Awesome. I 100% echo what Coach Steve said. And for docs who are watching this right now, right, who can relate, to the frustration of, yo-yo dieting and just want something that's evidence-based plan, something that's efficient, something that where you can join a community of other docs who are going through the same struggle, and we just motivate each other and work with Dr. J too, because he's going to still be in the program. His journey is not yet. What's the
I'm
goal,
still
Dr.
going.
What's the goal? What's the final goal? What is it that you want to achieve?
Geez, I mean, what don't I want to achieve? So, continue to improve energy, improve strength. I'd like to drop another about 40 pounds, more or less.
Nice.
For sure. So
Yeah.
lofty goals, but definitely achievable.
Well, you see what you can achieve now. You're almost, you're at about 30, So, I mean, that's just rinse and repeat now, Dr. J. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
if you guys are interested in one of us reaching out, either me, Coach C, or one of our coaches reaching out to just have that conversation with you to see if you're a good fit, if you are, great, you could come on board. If not, then listen, be in this community, be active, come to the live streams, use all the resources we have. We have over 30, 40 live streams here, right? We have docs from all different kinds of specialties, okay? Use this community. The one thing we want to make sure is that everyone gets healthy, and none of us are part of that 50% who are overweight or obese. So comment Dr. J in the comments. We'll reach out. Thanks.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Have a good night.
Talk later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.